Welcome. You're listening to
Off the Page.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Sewon.
How are you?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
Well, I hope my voice turns out okay.
Why? Because
Is it all right?
yeah, I think it is all right.
You know, I have this chronic throat inflammation thing, 그 식도염. This is one of the things that you get when you get older, you know? Like, you get chronic inflammation on your throat.
Is it
만성 식도염.
식도염?
I think so. I think it's something like 후두염 or 식도염,
Oh.
like somewhere in your throat.
Actually,
So
I
have that.
I have that one too.
Oh, you already?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, I feel sorry for you. I have that, and I was in Taebaek during the weekends, which I will get to later. And the place I stayed was quite dry, I think. So that the dryness of the room, plus my chronic inflammation, plus I think I have a little bit of 감기 기운. So everything all mixed up. I end up like clearing my throat a lot and like cough a lot. So it literally came to the point where my 팀장님 couldn't handle it and like start mentioning about it. And like he was like, "Oh, I think your symptom is just the same as my wife's." So like he started like giving me like the tips to, you know, relieve like my throat and like, you know, thankfully. And speaking of voice, like we've talked about it like in our previous episodes, but you know how like my people from my side, like they complimented your voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, whereas they kind of, you know, gave me like negative feedbacks about my voice because it's not just about 안 좋아, but like it's more of like they told me they kind of advised me to tone down a little because to you know to make it sound even with your voice because relatively your voice is very 차분해 and very calm, whereas my voice is very loud and very sharp at some points. So like I also found it while I was editing our recording because whenever you say like, so I believe that this is this and that is that, and you and I suddenly interrupt saying like things like but and like, but then the 파장 again, the wave, right? My 파장 is a lot bigger than yours. So I just ended up thinking like, oh, maybe I should listen to them because it might feel very 불편해 to our listeners. And my sister, I already like shared this with you. And she was like, oh, your voice compared to Michelle's, your voice is very 아줌마 같아, and like your voice is very 걸걸해. But like, you know, yeah, she told me that my voice sounds like an 아줌마, but I couldn't care less about that because I'm already 아줌마. Like, I don't care about it. But like, I do agree that I put too much strength when I try to speak any language, you know, like for example, my sister goes like 한국어든 영어든 I think you put too much effort in it. Like 힘을 너무 많이 주는 것 같아. And that I kind of agree. I thought about it. I thought upon it and I kind of agreed to it. And so I already have a throat issue and listeners' feedback combined. I think starting from today, I might lower my voice a little bit starting today.
Well,
And see how things goes.
I'm kind of thinking about what you heard from your side. Because when I was listening to our podcast after you like told me about the feedbacks about our voice like differences, I was actually thinking that I sound kind of sheepish compared to you.
Sheepish.
Because like,
I'm not,
like my voice is like relatively smaller. So like
well,
I was just thinking about, you know, maybe I would try to be sound more like a little bit louder or a little bit sharper maybe. I was just thinking about that.
yeah.
Like something has to be changed on my side. I was thinking about that actually.
Maybe we it would be great to balance it out, you know. But at least from my dad's side or my sister's side, like they told me like it sounds too loud and like it's so 아줌마 같아, it's so 걸거래 kind of like negative feedbacks. You know, the feedbacks that only family members could give, right?
Yeah, but I like literally don't get the sense of like sounding like a 아줌마. I really don't get it.
Know. Well, I don't know. I sound like 아줌마 maybe because I am already 아줌마. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is just that I think I should, you know, tone down a little.
But still, like, I was just thinking about that. Like, of course, you can try to, you know, tone down your voice. But still, like, if it feels a little bit uncomfortable with you, maybe I was just thinking that, like, we can just, you know, volume up or, like, modify my voice when we are doing the editing.
The thing is, I am not at that level when it comes to editing.
Actually, I asked some questions about like our voice differences to ChatGPT 선생님, and like she kindly guided how to do, you know,
how to
you know kind of like equalize
volume
or kind of like volumize my voice. So maybe like we can do that kind of thing as well.
Sure.
Like even though we are not the professionals and like usually many people spend all the money for the mixing, but however still I think we can give it a try.
Sure. I'll ask ChatGPT how to do it, and like I'll try to apply this from this moment on, from this episode on. And like, but at the same time, like I kind of agree with my sister saying that I put too much 힘을 줘. Like I put too much strength when it comes to, you know, making voices. I think I unintentionally do that, so I ended up like 너무 목을 많이 쓰는 것 같아서.
Then like
on that,
do you
I kind of agree.
Feel a little bit sore after our recording?
Yes, and then and same for whenever I'm done with my Chinese lessons.
Because I get it.
Because my Chinese level is a lot lower than my English or my Korean, so I ended up, you know, trying to emphasize what I'm trying to say, right, with my limited vocabulary and limited phrases. So I ended up like using a lot of, you know, voice power. I don't know what to say, like,
you know, I get it,
right? Yeah, so I kind of my voice ended up 잠겨 a lot. And that happens the same after work as well. So and I wasn't really aware of it until I started this podcast and like until I get feedbacks from my people around. So maybe that's something that I should think about, and maybe I'll just try this out and like see what happens.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
For the sustainability of our show.
Sure. Which that we should also shout out at our mutual friend
our kind of biggest like chaperone or something.
Our biggest sponsor of this podcast. Could you she randomly popped up at our floor, right? This morning. It turns out she just popped up. She just appeared to give us a 배도라지, right?
Yeah.
Which is good for our throat.
I mean, like, we kind of... I think we got the very same, like... How do you say that? I suddenly forgot the word. However, like, 완전 똑같은 메모를 줬잖아요, 우리한테.
Yeah. The big Thursday is coming. And like, you know.
When I was looking at that memo, I felt like I kind of can... hear Sunny's voice actually.
Oh.
You know, I mean, of course, like I think it is because I feel quite familiar or like very amiable towards her, but still, like I think she has some kind of a very certain like set of vocabulary that she uses a lot.
Such as?
I don't know, like her tone. I think like some vocabularies kind of like include can show her like certain tone of like haha or something like that. She does it a lot, like haha or like 아니 뭐 이러면서 얘기하잖아요.
Oh, right. And you're starting to do her impression.
Yeah. Actually, I've never tried like doing impression of her, but still like.
Which I'm not going to edit this out. Yeah.
I don't know, like
I think
yeah. I mean, like I kind of like her voice or like her tone when she sounds a little bit like buoyant, and I kind of find that a little bit very attractive. And I was like, when I was reading that memo from Sunny, I was kind of very this is so Sunny. This really sounds like her.
It's very good to see you too, like both at workplace, you know, being very friendly and like I kind of feel like you guys are more than work colleagues, don't you?
Yeah,
like,
I think so as well. And I hope Sunny thinks so as well.
Yeah. Like I'm not sure about the way she speaks or anything, but like I like the way she shows her support. Like she has her own style of, you know, encouraging people or supporting or rooting for people. And it's kind of funny because, you know, whenever we sometimes go out for lunch, right? And, you know, most of the times I try to pay.
Yeah.
Most of the times. And like, you know, there are ways to, you know, for, you know, there's this typical Korean arguing about who to pay, and like there will be some like physical fights, little fights over the counter, right? To who to pay and not. What's funny about Sunny P, our friend, is that she's the only one who does things like hey, like things, right? You know, like,
you are also doing the impression of her, actually.
Yeah. Because most of the times, will she be offended? I don't think so. Like, I think she'll be just laughing over this. But then, anyways, like, she has this very 솔직한 vibe overall. Yeah. So, like, whenever I'm trying to pay, like, she kind of blocks me from the counter, like, prevent me from, you know, paying, right? And she goes like, hey, 하지 마, that kind of vibe. So like, yeah, I just there are some things that I really like about her, and you know, I'm very grateful that she's one of my great work colleagues.
Yeah, like so true.
Yeah. So thank you, Sunny, for the 배도라지.
Thank you so much.
For the sake of because of your 배도라지, I might not clear my throat as often as I used to be. I used to. 감사합니다. Yeah. How was your weekend? Yeah. We ended up staying at the same province, right?
Yeah. I mean, for those of like I don't think that like there will be listeners from like international listeners of our show yet. But still, just in case.
I don't think.
March 1st is 3일절? And it is a national holiday in Korea.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Could you explain?
Yeah, of course. Like, March 1st is 3일절. It is a national holiday in Korea, and since like it fell on a weekend this year, so this week's Monday became a substitute holiday. So we took the opportunity to rest for like 3 days in a row. So like during that holiday season, I went on a one night, 2-day 1박 2일 hot spring and resort trip to Gangwon-do with my friends.
Which particular region in Gangwon-do?
I went to Inje, Sokcho. I think it was Inje and Sokcho. And like me and my friends, we jokingly called our trip as 물돼지 여행 or water peak trip.
Why so?
You know, like, did you know that the like literal translation of capybara's scientific name is water peak? Did you know that?
Really? No.
So like I saw some of the people on the web calling capybaras as 물돼지. it is kind of a like cute term to like call them. And like we were, we just loved the idea of, us soaking in water, floating around and resting like capybaras. So like we called our 여행 물돼지 여행.
So how many of you were traveling?
Including me, it was like 4 of us.
Oh. It's Sokcho is quite a well-known 관광지. It's quite a well-known touristy place in Korea. Whereas Inje, I believe not many people go visit Inje for travel, I believe.
Actually, like we went to Inje because we like wanted to go to certain hot spring in there. It is called 필레 온천. Have you heard of that place?
No.
Like I've never known this place before, like going to this trip, but it's said to have the second highest concentration of germanium in the world. Like the first,
in the world?
Yeah, the first place one is in some kind of like France or something, and the second place one is in Inje, 필레 온천, this place.
Wow, amazing! I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean like I don't know much thing about science, but like my skin felt incredibly smooth, like after going there. Would you recommend it to other people to visit the 필레 온천? Yes, of course. Like it is a very small hot spring, and also a little bit like old-fashioned one. But still, I highly recommend it because like you can do the outside bathing at there, like looking at the like mountainside.
That must be amazing.
Yeah.
진짜 좋겠다.
Yeah, it was so good actually. But like since it was the hot spring is about like 700 meters above sea level near 설악산, so it's quite high. Like so, like we had to like go down way from the mountain to like eat lunch, and we ran into a little bit of trouble. And I think this is kind of a like 그러니까 유일한 단점이 있다면 이거예요. When you go to that place, the road was so steep and winding, and our driver, who actually gets car sick the most out of all of us, like she started feeling very nauseous while driving. So like we had to pull over for a bit. I think it is not very difficult to get there, but I think the problem is to get down from there actually. Like to get down there and go to other places of Gangwon-do. I think that is the problem. But still, like if you don't have any like car sick, like I think everything will be fine.
So how long did it take you to go to Inje or Sokcho?
About like
where did you go for which place is the one that you first visited? Sokcho or Inje?
Inje. Like our first destination was 필레 온천. And like me and my friends met at like 7 a.m. on Saturday, and we drove about like 3.5 hours, I think.
Straight?
Yeah, straight, because like there was some kind of a like situation happening when we were going to Gangwon-do, because we went there all the way up there just by 국도. And it was actually unintentional because we borrowed the Sokka, the car rental service, and our previous driver who used the car that we were using, actually that person set up the navigation route as some kind of a like cheapest route. And we didn't know that, and like only I was aware of the fact that we were only going through 국도. And all of my friends had totally no idea, and they were like, why there are no 휴게소 on this road? And actually I was very sleepy because I had like very like short sleep on that day, like earlier in that morning, so I was very sleepy, and I was like, oh, guys, we are going on 국도, and I just fell asleep after saying that. And and after like 30 minutes later, my friends were still talking about like how dumb they were actually, wondering why there are traffic lights on 고속도로 actually. I was the only one who knew that we are going on 국도. Like, isn't it?
But, there are some people who prefer to drive 국도 rather than highways.
Actually, like, it was, like, very, like, good choice. It was unintentional, but still. It was very good choice because actually the traffic was not, like, I mean, the road was not very much jammed with the cars. We thought that, like, every car going to Gangwon-do was packed in 고속도로, like, express highway. So we kind of found it lucky afterwards.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, I kind of prefer 국도 sometimes because even when I'm driving, I get to see the surroundings more, right?
Yeah.
When you drive in 국도, whereas in 고속도로, the highways, you just see the identical just roads, like from start to end, right?
Yeah.
So and then I have this fear of speed. So like, there's a limit. There's a very high limit that you have to, your limit is 100 kilometers or 110 kilometers.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of, unspoken rule that you should not drive under 80.
Yeah.
Unless you're a 화물차, unless you're a cargo truck or something like that, or a trailer. So I kind of feel like I'm not a train, like I've been driving only for like 3 to 4 years. I recently started. So like when it comes to 고속도로, like I'm used to it now, but then I still have this, I get a little nervous because, I have to keep up. And at the same time, when you speed up, it kind of feels kind of scary, right?
It sometimes feel like I'm not attached, like cars, tires are not attached to the road. Sometimes I feel like that.
And I also feel kind of scared when it comes to the point where I feel nearly numb to the speed. So like I'm 밟아 to like 110 kilometers, but then like I don't feel like I'm driving that fast.
Yeah.
Like only after my dad, tells me that, oh, you're driving too fast. Maybe you should slow down a little. And that I realize that I'm driving a little too fast. But like 국도, like as far as I know, it's maximum like speed limit is like 80.
Yeah, it's
or
80,
something. So like it's kind of okay to drive like 70 to 60.
Yeah.
Sometimes people drive 90, but then it's okay still. So yeah, in many ways I prefer 국도. So maybe it's not a bad choice.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
And like by the way, you mentioned that Sokcho is kind of a like touristy spot. We also went to Sokcho 중앙시장.
Oh, which is also very touristy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was my first time visiting there. And I was, like, so surprised because the market was, like, completely packed with people. And, like, we waited, like, quite a while in line to buy 오징어 순대.
I just hate to be in line. I was just gonna ask about Inje 그 필레 온천. Like,
oh, yeah.
Is there packed with people as well?
No, I don't think so because it is a small place. Like basically, it is impossible to like many people to go in there because there aren't enough lockers for the people. So like there is no chance that like it'll be like crowded like as crazy as other like bigger oncheon, like hot springs. So like I think you might like their 필레 온천.
Yeah. I should go. Like, did you have to make a reservation?
No,
beforehand?
like we didn't. Like we just walked in there.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Let's go back to 속초 중앙시장 now. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, like actually, like it was just we bought. Of course, we bought 만석 닭강정, the most famous like local specialty in Sokcho.
Which is great.
Yeah, and like we got back to our resort. Like with the food and like we had those food as our dinner of the first day and like and we before we were going to Sokcho 중앙시장 actually we had like after we checked into our resort we swam for about 2 hours in the pool and it it was very tiring and we were waiting in line for quite a while at the market. And actually, it took a lot of time for us to park in the resort actually. Like it was late in the night. It was some kind of like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or something. So like all the cars were already parked. So like we circled around forever. Like we ended up parking in a different building than that we were staying. So we were kind of exhausted when we like came back to our room. So like when we ate the food, like we just like literally passed out. Like all of us passed out. So like the trip was like supposed to be some kind of a relaxing getaway, but actually our schedule was very like packed with all the 일정.
한국인이라서 그래요. Because you guys are Koreans.
Yeah, because like we woke up on the second day like at like 8:30 a.m. and we went to the resort's infinity pool to swim about like for an hour, and then after we checked out, we went to eat 가오리찜.
Oh, which is 이모네 생선찜, right?
I don't think that was it was 황금 황금찜 or
whatever.
something.
가오리찜 is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, and it also took us for like 30-minute wait to get in there. But it was totally worth it. And after eating our lunch, we went to another hot spring actually.
You know, all I could say is
Yeah.
젊은이들 진짜 대단하다. 대단합니다.
The hot spring name was 척산 온천, and I recommend it as well.
필레 온천 versus 척산 온천.
I should say 필레 온천 is better.
Oh.
Because 척산 온천 is so like full of people actually.
Okay.
사람이 너무
That
많아.
I wouldn't.
근데 좋아요.
That I wouldn't want to. Oh, okay. Water-wise, are you talking about the quality of water?
Quality of water is like much better in 필레 온천 because of the germanium thing, and also the like since it is not much crowded, the like water can be more clean. I think.
Okay. No wonder you guys call yourselves wet pigs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think we took showers like at least 4 times a day, I think.
Very relaxing weekend. A very relaxing getaway.
But like, however, somehow, like, I don't get it, but it was exhausting at the same time.
Because look at your schedule. 계속 뭘 하는데. Was it a relaxing getaway? Really? I don't know.
I like it. I have to admit that it turned out like physically very intense. But still, like, when I went back to my swimming lesson on Tuesday, like, I felt amazing, actually. My body was light, refreshed, and surprisingly, it was energized, actually.
Do you know why? I think that's because you're already trained during the weekends. So your body's like, your body feels like, just swimming on Tuesdays or Thursdays is nothing. Because you're fully trained during the weekends.
Yeah, I agree.
Amazing.
So,
I really should visit 필레 온천.
Yeah, I highly recommend that place. And that was my weekend. And how was yours, Sewon?
Well, turns out you and I both stayed in 강원도 at the same time. I visited Taebaek. It was also a 1-night 2-day trip with my dad. And Taebaek, for me, it's not the first time. I already told you, but it's my 6th time. So during summer last year, my dad and I were looking for a place to piso, right? Because it's so hot, so humid and so hot. And my dad always wanted to visit Taebaek because he knew that it's a good place to go piso to get away from all the heat and all the all the hot heat, all the hot, what do you say, hot weather.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel sorry for him because he's been talking about Taebaek for a very long time, and I actually didn't listen to him. But then recently I had a chance to participate in a reading session at Park Jun poet, the poet.
Oh, yeah.
And like, he's a very great poet, by the way. And then I was at a reading session the other day, and he kind of mentioned about Taebaek, and like, it turns out that he stayed in Taebaek for about a month, and he wrote about it. And I think Taebaek Sicheong, the Taebaek city, kind of offered him the place to stay, like for about a month, and then he kind of stayed there and like enjoy the vibe of the region, and then he wrote about it. I think he mentioned Taebaek in some of his poems as well. But anyways, and from that moment on, I was like, since Park Jun 선생님 mentions it, I might as well just visit. And like my dad, who has no idea about this, he goes like, oh yeah, Taebaek 안 갈래? And then I was like, oh okay, and he was very delighted. Without knowing that, my initial intention is, coming from Park Jun Shin, not from him. Sorry, Dad. By the way, he's an avid listener, very serious listener to our podcast. So he will, say something about it later. But then anyways, so we visited Taebaek. We visited Taebaek during summer last year, and 진짜 시원해요. It's really cool. It's amazing. Seriously.
I mean, how is that possible? Like,
because it's the altitude is like the average altitude is about 900 meters to 1,000 meters.
Wow, I never knew that.
So I think it's the highest region within South Korea, I think. So during the daytime it's 그냥 똑같이, it's really hot. But then the temperature drops drastically in the evening. So it drops to the point where it's 16 degrees.
Wow.
during 그 열대야 period.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
so
wow.
Yeah, my dad and I like woke up in the middle of the night, look at the temperature, it's 16 degrees. Like it got me chills, nearly.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it the usual temperature in fall or autumn or something?
Yeah. For Seoul or other regions in South Korea, right? But then Taebaek, it's very cool during summer as well. And I kind of had a chance to ask one of the old ladies who's living there, and like we kind of had a chat with her, and she told us that she doesn't really need an air conditioner or a fan, even electric fan to stay the summer. Yeah, the point is it gets really cool during summer in Taebaek. Wow. So from August to September, we ended up visiting Taebaek every weekend. That was last year.
Wow.
5 times in a row. 계속 갔어요. And like I also like during the daytime, like I visited, there's a cave called 용연 동굴. And it's high up in the mountain. It's very deep. Like if you want, like you can go to a walking tour, and it takes about 40 minutes to, have a tour around the cave. It's very deep and really wide. And the temperature during the daytime is 13 degrees.
Wow. What?
진짜
Not 30, it's 13?
13.
Wow.
1-3.
Amazing.
So, yeah, we end up staying at the 동굴, like, during the daytime, and, like, things like that. And then, yeah, it's amazing. You should really go. And one of the things that I really like about Taebaek is that not just about the weather, but also I actually want to get your take on this as well. But then, as a Seoul person, whenever I travel other regions, I kind of feel its distinctive vibe. For example, I visit Daegu, or I visit Busan, or I visit Mokpo. I kind of sense its very distinctive vibe from the people or the culture or the region.
I agree.
Yeah, not just about the dialect they use or like the way they talk, but overall vibe is quite different from Seoul,
Yeah.
And what amazed me about Taebaek is that it didn't have any. Taebaek felt like a very, I don't know how to put it, but a very contemporary city. So I did a little research, and it turns out Taebaek was only developed after in the 1960s to 70s because of the coal mining,
Ah.
So before it was a 그냥 no-name city, like it had no distinctive thing in that region. But all of a sudden, the coal mining became a thing, and like people from all over the region, gathered up in Taebaek just to
yeah.
make money in the 1960s and 70s. And it turns out that those people, some of them even, went to Germany to do the 석탄, the coal mining, right? Taebaek turns out to be a city that was built relatively in the modern times.
Yeah.
So what I recognize is that people are not originally from Taebaek. So there are people from Busan, there are people from Daegu, there are people from Pongham or Jeollado places. So like it's all mixed up together. And it's really funny about the thing is that, in Gangwon-do it's famous for its buckwheat noodles, right? 막국수.
Yeah.
옹심이, those typical, specialties in Gangwon places, Gangwon regions, right? The way they name their stores, the restaurants, it's really interesting because it's 감자 옹심이, for example, but it's Busan 감자 옹심이.
Because the owner is from Busan? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So like, but you wouldn't say that 옹심이 is from Busan, right?
Yeah.
It's a typical 강원도 specialty.
강원도 감자 옹심이? Okay.
No. 부산 감자 옹심이.
부산 감자 옹심이? Okay.
옹심이. So I was like wondering, why is there Busan plus 옹심이 at a restaurant, the 간판? And it turns out that, many people gathered up in Busan, Taebaek in 1960s to 70s, and people, call themselves as 전라도 댁 or Busan 댁. Those people from Busan, people from Jeolla, people from Mokpo or Daegu, something like that. So like, it's quite metropolitan or cosmopolitan there. Like not in a population-wise, but in the originality-wise, it's very, very, it's very big city-like, Seoul-like. That was very interesting. And, like for those who already have, for those international tourists who might be listening to our podcast in the near future, maybe, or even for Korean tourists, I think, Taebaek is definitely not a 관광지.
Yeah.
But, if you have a closer look, I believe that there's Taebaek has if you're curious about the modern history that helped, shape today's prosperous Korea, I think Taebaek is the city that you must visit because, you get to see the history of coal mining and so there's this 석탄 박물관 that I highly recommend as well. 석탄 박물관 is a really good place to visit because they not only showcased all the 광물, the materials that came from, mining, but also they had a very good job in, this is 부여 all over again. 석탄박물관 this time is a very good place to visit because, for example, they had a very good, 뭐라 해야 되지? 구현해놨어요.
You mean they've represented the past history of coal mining in Taebaek.
Yes.
In that place.
Yes. Like for example, if you go into this section, you get to see the 목욕탕, the bathtub that the miners used.
Yeah.
And it's depicted in a very accurate way or the precise way that you could actually see how things were like after all the hard work. How they, and they get to show us the 도시락 that they had in the very deep down cave. Or what's really interesting, I think the kids would really love this because the first time you step into the museum, it's all dark.
Wow.
And you have no idea where you're going. But then the floor, the ground is very squishy. It's very wobbly. So I was like, what's wrong with this, floor? And it turns out it's a effect였어요. It was a 효과 to let you know that it feels like you're in a coal mining place and you feel the 지진, you feel the earthquake, coming from all the bombing. They do, they have to bomb the place before they do the mining, right? So it kind of gives you the experience of, it gives you the feeling that you are as if in the mining place. And it's there are several stories. Chances are, the thing is that you have to go all the way up and you have to go down. And you, at some point, you have to take an elevator. It's a must. It's a must. Yeah. And I thought it's just a normal elevator that we use at office or at normal buildings. But then they decorated the elevator as the real mining situation. So like the elevator once again is very dark and they
Yeah.
make a very big sound effect like 내려갑니다. 구구구구구구구.
Ah.
And then the elevator is very wobbly and like it shakes very hard. Like, you know, it sounds and they also have a the smell effect. I don't know what to say. It sounds like it smells like 석탄.
Wow. I mean, like, it is a shame that I've never known this place, like, before listening to what you are saying right now. It is amazing, I mean.
It is amazing. It is amazing. I just wonder like if it's a 국립, if it's a public or a private, but then I think it's a public museum. But anyways, the museum itself is very well decorated and well depicted, and like you get to see how Korea has in overall developed during those days, which is also great that 석탄박물관 is right inside the 전망대, which is up in the mountain. And when you go way up there, you get to have a lot of, those trampolines that kids do?
Yeah.
And so there is a really huge trampoline place
There
that
is
you
a
could have
trampoline
fun to.
place?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It is a
Like,
little
but
bit
it's built in the middle of the wood.
eh?
The 석탄박물관 itself is in the middle of the wood. 숲속에 있어요.
Oh.
So the 전망대 and the 석탄박물관 is together in the woods, in the mountains. So you get to, like the way up to the 전망대, like you get to try the trampoline and you get to do all the 그 fun stuff that kids like, right? 뭐라 그러지? 그 그네, the swing things, and yeah, I should show you pictures of it. But then it's a really good walk all the way up, and it's not 진짜 안 힘들거든요. It's just a 10-minute to 15-minute walk. And if you reach to the top, you get to see all the mountains and all the views from top to bottom. So which is amazing and it's very refreshing as well. So overall, I highly recommend Taebaek. I think it's worth a visit. Like it has a lot of good 소고기 places at reasonable prices. So yeah.
좋은데요. I mean,
Yeah, it's really great.
you once told me like before that you've been to Taebaek like 6 times last year. And I was thinking whether I've been visited Sokcho before. Not Sokcho, Taebaek before. And I suddenly it suddenly came to my mind that like when I was in the first grade of my high school, we went to Taebaek for 수련회.
Oh.
But to be honest, I didn't like remember that it was Taebaek because we went to 수련회 on the like second day of our high school. So like everyone was so nervous. And also like we were trying to be like cool kids among our classmates. And that was all we were like concentrated on. So like I literally forgot that like I've been to Taebaek once during my high school days. But like
you might like it.
Yeah, and I and after like hearing what you like told us about Taebaek, I think I'm gonna love that place because
Yeah.
I really want to see the particularly the metropolitanness of the city. It sounds really interesting.
It's not, it's metropolitan. Like I don't. Maybe I chose the wrong term, but then what I'm trying to get at is that it was very.
도회적이에요?
아니에요. The overall vibe is very 시골, but then like when like for example, if I visit Daegu, I can't describe it precisely, but then I kind of feel the sense that people here have its own culture and its own vibe, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it in a negative way, but then they 조금 달라요, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. I get it because I'm
people.
from Daegu. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of expect that from other regions as well because it has its own vibe in Mokpo, for example, or in Jeju-do, right? But then Taebaek was very from the people-wise, I couldn't feel like they have its own distinctive vibe.
You mean
collectively?
So the vibe is a little bit like hybrid situation.
Hybrid, like yeah. So like if you live in Seoul, like you know that it's Seoul is mixed, basically a mixture of people from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like 서울 사람들만 서울 사는 거 아니잖아요.
Yeah.
So like it's a jumble of everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of sensed a similar thing in Taebaek. So I wondered why, because Taebaek is definitely not a big city, right? So like,
Yeah.
왜 그런 특정한 분위기가 안 나지? I wondered that. But then yeah, it turns out that people are from all over the regions.
So it may be like Ulsan vibe or something.
Yeah.
Because all the people in Ulsan are gathered from everywhere in Korea because of Hyundai.
Yeah. I've never been to Ulsan before, though, but like it will be similar. But then from what I know, Ulsan is very lively, isn't it? Because of its economic,
because of technology thing.
Industry and everything. But then Taebaek is quite, we don't do coal mining anymore, so it's quite. I kind of feel like it's quite deserted in some way, abandoned in some way. But then still, it's very peaceful and it's got its own history. And the thing is, like, Taebaek is very different from other regions of Gangwon-do. Like, but they have makguksu, they have dubu and stuff like that. But then it's not their specialty per se. Because again, Taebaek is, I think Taebaek has its own distinctive history from other Gangwon-do regions. So like, it's kind of like, 막국수 있지만 it's not particularly a Taebaek thing.
I get it. I get the sense.
Yeah. So, but they have a really good sundubu place. They have a very good sogi place, and they have a very good ongshimi place that I can, give you recommendations to.
Yeah.
So
I should visit Taebaek one day in future, I think.
Yeah.
It is really
maybe
interesting.
You should. I can kind of say this confidently to you because I believe that I trust you in a way that you get what I'm trying to say. But then oftentimes, like, Koreans, the way they travel is quite different from how I travel. Like, I'm not trying to be, 특별하게 다르다고 이렇게 하려고 하는 게 아니라.
I know.
Yeah. So, like, I'm kind of afraid that people might end up saying, like, 거기 볼 게 뭐가 있다고,
Yeah, I get it.
볼 거 없어요. Like, 볼 거 없는데.
I know.
There's 볼 거 없어, but there's also 볼 거 있어.
Yeah,
if you see it different way.
I'm kind of familiar with those kind of places because, as I mentioned before, I'm from Gyeongsan, and Gyeongsan is one of those places, and I'm very used to it. And I'm like very interested in traveling other cities, like not touristy place, but still place that has some kind of very original characteristic in that place. That would be very interesting to me.
Yeah. And all the mountains and like all the 계곡s, the valleys, they're amazing. And like I kind of see why 박준 씨님 liked Taebaek so much. Yeah.
Ooh.
Anyways, that was my weekend.
Great. I mean, really great.
And yeah, so we might end up, me visiting Pilleoncheon and you visiting Taebaek at some point this summer, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So for this week, we've already told our listeners that we'll be covering 2 books this week, and one is from what's it called?
Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut.
And the other one is No One Writes to the Colonel by Gabriel García Márquez, right?
Yep.
And the funny thing is that I highly recommended it to Michelle, the Colonel book. But then I realized that the last time I read this is about 5 years ago.
What?
So I end up like remembering nothing. So like I might, rely heavily onto you when it comes to, talking about the Colonel book. Sorry.
I'm going to drive this car today. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Please do.
And actually, like, when Sewon and I were deciding on this week's topic, we were basically just talking about what we had been reading recently. And I mentioned that, like, I had finished Slaughterhouse-Five earlier this year. And I was a little bit hesitant to recommend it because it's one of those books that's often considered as a quote-unquote classic. And I thought it might be hard to read quickly while preparing for a podcast episode.
I know. I kind of regretted that. I personally could have been better. It could have been better if I had a little bit more time reading Slaughterhouse-Five.
It is not, I think Slaughterhouse-Five is not a very easy one to read, I think.
No, it definitely is not.
Not that mean it is like sophisticated or something, but like it has a certain vibe.
The plot itself is quite simple.
Yeah.
But then I think that's the reason why it makes readers to find a lot more difficult to read.
Yeah.
Because it's simple.
Yeah, it is so simple, but still, like we are gonna talk about this later, but for example, the concept of time in the novel is quite, it is not going in the like linear form as we do like past, present, future in that way. So it can be a little bit confusing in the earlier stage of the book because it suddenly goes to the past of the protagonist, and right after that it is suddenly way after in the future. So it can be confusing. Well, anyways, like then when I mentioned Slaughterhouse-Five, when we were discussing about the like next episode's topic, then you told me that you also had a classic that you really liked. And that was like No One Writes to the Colonel. So like we kind of decided to approach the episodes from the angle of classics.
Right.
And, swap books that the other person hadn't read before.
Yeah.
Once I actually started reading Márquez's book, I found it interesting that like it also features a protagonist who fought a war, actually. It was really surprising.
Post-war situation, right?
Yeah. And I asked Sewon about this, like, did you know that Slaughterhouse-Five is also about the war?
Well, I had no... I knew that it's about Dresden bombing, but then...
Yeah.
Bombing in Dresden, whatever. But then, like, I couldn't thought of it as a...
overlap of
post-war. Yeah.
So, like, so No One Writes to Colonel was published in 1957, and Slaughterhouse-Five came out in 1969. So there is kind of a like 10-year gap between the two works, and also you can guess from the author's name. They also come from very different literary contexts. The Márquez one is written like Márquez is a Colombian writer, and also Kurt Vonnegut is German American. And but still, if there is the differences between the two works, they both share a similar theme, I think. They are really about what it means to live after a war and how people continue their lives once the war is over. And I can put it in this way, that it also pushes us to think about a bigger question. Does the official end of a war really mean it's over for the people who experienced it? And if not, when does it actually end? I felt that like these questions can be adapted for both of the works. And we can first, go over Márquez, No One Writes to the Colonel first, because like it was published earlier. And now after that, like we can go over the Slaughterhouse-Five by Vonnegut, I think.
Sure. So the brief summary of the book No One Writes to the Colonel, it's about a story of an old colonel who lives in poverty with his sick wife in a small town somewhere in Latin America. And every Friday he goes to the post office hoping to receive a letter from the government that he can finally get his pension he was promised for his service during the Civil War many years ago. But then, as the title says, the letter never arrives. So they end up selling all their belongings to feed themselves. And like it ends up like the only thing they left is a rooster. But then somehow they can't give up on their rooster because it's the one that his son was killed during the civil fight.
Yeah.
he kind of raised it, the rooster, and he kind of valued it. So like I kind of felt like the rooster represented hope for the colonel. So the story ends up like he never gives up on colonel, like the rooster. Like he sells everything but not the rooster. And he still waits for the letter to come. And he still believes that the hope will finally, that things will get better in the future, and he never gives up on hope. So that's basically the overall story of it. Did I describe it correctly?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, like, since you recommended this book to me, did you have any particular reason that you liked this book?
First off, I think I am naturally drawn to stories that involve old people. Like, I kind of feel that I have a pity on them. So, like, even though I'm not at that age, I kind of feel like how frustrating it would be to live. Like when everything is changing so fast and like people are, I kind of get the sense that people are not very friendly to the old people. People tend to be more kind of indifferent to the old people.
To them.
Yeah. And I kind of feel very sorry for them in that sense. And like first of all, I couldn't see that as a story of a soldier who's not getting what he deserved. But then saw like the way that, the old man, he used to be the one who's fighting for the country. And now he's left abandoned, don't know what to do. But he still has the spirit of a soldier, right? So like he never backs down, and like he kind of has this hige, or he has this dignity. I think that it's a very admirable thing to do, and at the same time, I kind of feel sorry for them at the same time. And like when I read this story, I kind of thought of the book, The Waiting for the Godot play. Because like the plot is quite similar in that have you read it, by the way? Do you know the plot? I'm waiting for the Godot.
I know the plot and I've read it before, but I don't remember the details.
It's basically about two old men, waiting for someone right, that never comes. So the plot is quite similar, but then I'm merely in my 30s, but then I still believe that, I don't know, like I see my future while reading them, kind of, like I'm not saying that, my future is doomed and, I'll be like them. I'm not saying that, but then I'm thinking of how life could become, or how difficult life could turn out. Even if you, work diligently, or even if you, do your best in your life. And, I kind of love the way the Márquez, the writer, depicted its emptiness, or the void, or the, loneliness that come along in that journey, like there's there's nothing you can do about it but just to wait. But you just have nothing to do but just wait for things that might come or might not come. That 허무함, that that emptiness. I think like even though we're not that old, I think we kind of I think that people in the 30s or 40s, like they kind of sense that in their life at some point, right? It's 인생이 허무함. And I think that made me really love this book.
Like, speaking of 허무함, or like it can be translated as meaninglessness in that way, maybe. Like one thing in particular that I found interesting about this book is that like this is a very short novel. Maybe it can be called as novella or something. I kind of recognize that there are so many depictions about Coronel and his wife sleeping and then after waking up. It was interesting because like there aren't many other routines for them.
Yeah.
other than sleeping, or
Right.
like in the wife's case, like she can do all the chores in the house, but still Coronel has not much thing to do in that house or in the town maybe. And I found it out, and when someone is sleeping, it kind of brings in the feeling of drowsiness in the narrative, I think. And it happens so often in this novel, and I thought that maybe like this frequency, the sleeping thing, is so frequently happening in this book. And I was just thinking that this kind of setting is making up the like whole mood of the book, I thought.
But at the same time, like the sleeping scenes, what I feel very endearing about this novel is that how sweet the colonel is to his wife as a husband.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Like, like I kind of go for the guys in the novel who is faithful to their wives and who is very sweet to their wives. It's, oftentimes it's very hard to see the characters like that, right? So, like, I really like the very first scene of the novella. If you remember, like the very first scene is that, the colonel tries to make coffee. So he holds up a can of the powder coffee, and if it turns out that there's not much coffee left, so he kind of scrapes off from the can and tries to make one proper cup of coffee, and he just hands it over to his wife, right? And his wife asks like, "Why don't you have one?" And he goes like, "Oh, I've already had one." So,
I remember the scene.
Yeah. 그런, I'm not married, but I always love to see the couples doing their best to each other.
Yeah.
Like when they're like just newlywed, those couples, they're obviously very sweet to one another, right? It's kind of obvious. It's kind of odd not to be sweet to one another when they're newlyweds, right? But then, like, I really like to see the old couple, being very cuddly and very nice to one another, even at like 30 to 40 years of marriage, after all, they still end up very endearing to one another. And that's one of the things that I really like to see or witness. So what I really like about the Colonel is that he tries to keep it all together.
Yeah.
And, he never gives up. He never gives up the core part of him, which is the rooster, his wife, or the pension, or his honor, as a soldier. So I think I kind of 존경해, kind of respect the colonel in that way. The reason why I like this novel is because I think I basically like the main character of the novel because he's got 기계, he's got 인간미, and he's got... I think the colonel kind of shows me how a human being should act or behave or live.
Actually, I was thinking that Coronel is kind of very stubborn in some ways. And also he's being kind of a little bit naive at some point, like earlier stage in the novel. But still, like after seeing him, like when he first tries to sell rooster to like some rich guy in the town. And then he gives up like selling the rooster to him and then like brings it back to their house once again and try to feed it once again just like before. When I saw that whole storyline, I was very impressed because do you remember the line that there are a group of kids that love the rooster in the town, and the kids were like saying things to the colonel's wife that the rooster is not just yours, it belongs to all of us, like all of us in our village. And because of that statement of the kids, the rooster can be also the hope for everyone in the town, actually. Like, so the colonel could have sold a rooster to, get the, like, some of the, money from the rich guy. But still, he understands that the rooster is the hope of everyone in the neighborhood.
And therefore, he should not give up on the rooster.
Yeah, he cannot
Yes.
easily give up on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after seeing that, seeing his decision, I kind of started to admire him as well.
Yeah.
So like and also I wanted to ask your opinion about the ending actually.
What was the ending?
Sorry. I mean, the colonel and colonel's wife get into a fight because like colonel's wife wanted him to sell the rooster because they were like literally out of their money. Like they could not no longer live on this, state of financial state situation. And the wife is like, then what are we gonna eat? The colonel says that, do you remember the line?
Poop.
Yeah. Like this ending kind of gave me a like complicated feeling towards the colonel once again.
I think the word poop, it kind of means like, I actually have no idea as well.
Yeah.
So don't ask me or don't whine about it, Again, another helplessness or another meaninglessness.
Yeah. So like I felt like he's saying that to his wife that we are gonna live like this just like we've been doing, and it kind of gave me the feeling of 허무해 in the ending part as well.
But it's a very, very sharp ending, isn't it? Like boom, and then it ends.
Yeah. I like the story and I quite enjoyed it, and there was some sentence that I liked in the novel. There is it. Like their son is like currently dead, and there was a line about the colonel's shoes, and like the wife and colonel talks about it, and I'm gonna just read out the part. They look like the shoes of an orphan, the colonel protested. Every time I put them on, I feel like a fugitive from Ashland. We are the orphans of our son, the wife said. I mean, like the line, we are the orphans of our son, the woman said. When I read the sentence, I was literally, 이 말을 치는 이런 느낌이었는데. Because like when people are losing their children, like of course losing one's parents is also devastating. But when someone is losing their children,
that's even more. It's beyond imagination.
Yeah, it's beyond imagination. And I thought that this sentence, "We are the orphans of our son," it felt like it shows some kind of, in a little bit like 함축적인 way, that what the loss of their son means to them.
I think it's her way of saying that we are lost. We're totally lost. Like we have nowhere to go and we don't know where to go.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do about it? And like I think that's her way of saying that.
Yeah. It was actually my first time reading Márquez work, and I was really surprised by I'm not sure whether it is right way to use this word, but he uses the language in a very economical way.
There's no it's not 화려해, right?
Yeah, it is not 화려해, or like there are many kind of like depictions of something, but still it is so precise.
It's so vivid, right?
Yeah. I really like the part of the novel actually.
We can also make a correlation between these two novels, that both of the novels are not written in a way that are.
Yeah.
I think both novels are written in a very simple way.
Yeah, true. I agree. So like there are some works that deal with war, the theme of war, and I'm not saying that like those kind of works are like not good enough, but still like there are some kind of works that is with very detailed demonstration of the wartime. Or the hardship, but these two works cannot be categorized as that kind of works. Like even very like something severe happens to our protagonists, still the narrator just goes on, just stating their like current situation in a very simple way, and then the narrator just moves on. It was interesting.
Yeah, right. Thank you for reminding me all the points that I really liked about the book, like 6 years ago. I nearly forgot.
You know, like speaking of the language of this work, like I also like I can, you know, give out this part as an example of how Márquez uses the language in a very simple way in this novel. Yeah. I can read it out as well. There was a conversation between Colonel and some like woman in the town, and it goes like, "I have nightmares every night," she said. "Now I know who the strangers are that we meet in dreams. Last week, a woman appeared at the head of my bed. She said she had died in this room 12 years ago. This house isn't even 2 years old," the colonel said. "Exactly," she said. "That means even the dead sometimes get the wrong house."
Oh.
I mean, it may sound like it does not make any sense, but it just, you know, very simply implies that there were so many deaths in this country, and there are so many like souls going around lost, like lost about where to go. It is implied in the scene.
They just hover around. Yeah.
And it also makes us a little bit sad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I can't believe this is happening at the same time, like in this very moment, you know.
I mean, it's so like, it is so terrible to see the like news articles every morning.
Yeah. And like while reading these novels, like I realized that these two books are not outdated at all, you know.
Yeah.
Sadly. And
it is so sad.
The points that they're trying to make, it's very valid.
Yeah.
At 2026.
Yeah.
Seriously. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next book?
The Slaughterhouse-Five? Yeah.
Yeah.
First, I can give out the summary of the book. Before we get into the book, I thought it might be helpful to briefly introduce the author. So, like, Kurt Vonnegut was an American novelist known for his dark humor, satire, and his very human way of writing about subjects like wars, technology, and the absurdity of modern life. Like, his work often blends science fiction with social criticism, so I think his stories can feel both imaginative and at the same time sharply reflective of reality. And one of his most famous works is, like, today's Slaughterhouse-Five, and the novel is loosely based on Vonnegut's own experience during World War II when he was captured as a prisoner of war and survived the bombing of Dresden. And like, instead of following the story in a like very straightforward historical way, the book shows a character named Billy Pilgrim who becomes unstuck in time. Like, he moves it, like when it is said that he is unstuck in times, it means that he moves unpredictably between different moments of his life, like his childhood, the war, and even moments in the future. So like this book has a very unusual structure, like jumping across time and mixing war memories with the science fiction elements like alien abduction. So like by jumping across all over the themes, like the novel explores the trauma of war and difficulty of making sense of violence and suffering. And also this work is like often described as an anti-war novel. But I think this book is also about memory and how people cope with experiences that feel almost impossible to understand. I mean, like traumatic experiences may be the like examples.
Right. This book is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
In another way.
Yeah.
This is, you know, I've only read it in Korean version of the book,
me too,
so I don't know,
actually.
like 뭐였죠? The repetitive word, the phrase, 그런 거지 뭐.
Like it is translated in Korean as 뭐 그런 거지. And
in English it's so
it goes.
So like he's trying to make everything as if it's nothing. Like he gives out all the description of how terrible it was.
Yeah.
But then he always end up saying, so it goes. 그냥 그런 거지. So like he killed him and her and everyone, and then so it goes. So I actually have a question about the character Roland Weary, if you remember. The fat guy?
Yeah, I remember.
who always goes with, who always not hangs out with, but then sticks with, Billy Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Like, any thoughts on that character specifically?
I don't know. I remember there were some parts that the German soldiers, when German soldiers saw Billy and Weary, the German soldiers were shocked because they were not in the, proper uniform for the soldiers. They were just, wearing all the weird, collected from everywhere.
Everywhere.
And then I was impressed by that scene because, the World War II is, it is declared as that, the German, the United States of America won over Germany.
Yes.
But still, during the actual wartime, all the American soldiers were not, properly treated to fight the war.
Yes.
They were just drawn into that situation. And they had to, even though they were fighting for the same country, but still, they had to fight with each other because they knew nothing about the war, and they were so much stressed about that situation.
Right.
So they started to show hostility towards each other, and I kind of felt like the scenes with that weary guy, I thought that these scenes show some kind of 미성숙함 of him, but still what comes to me even more is that the 미성숙함 of the country actually.
Oh,
how possible is that to throughout these people who knows nothing, how can the country just throw out these people to the war? I mean, did you have any reason that you wanted to ask my thoughts on Weary?
Well, because while reading it, Roland Weary does nothing but just beating him up, right?
Yeah.
Beating Billy up, right?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Until he dies, right? And I was like, there must be a reason why Vonnegut included this weary guy in the scene. And I kind of made a conclusion that maybe Roland Weary is another representation of Billy Pilgrim. Or Kurt Vonnegut. Because, I think whenever we read off survivors, the story of the survivors, they kind of have some guilty feelings for the fact that they survived, right? While their family members and their partners or their 뭐라 그래? 전우? What's 전우 in English? Their whatever. So what makes me kind of felt weird about this Roland Weary guy is that he's violent all over the story, but then the Billy is kind of succumbs to it. He kind of gives in, right?
Yeah.
He constantly he does nothing but he just let Weary beat him up, right?
Yeah.
And he constantly, and do you remember Billy constantly says something 그냥 내버려둬, just let me go, or just leave me alone, you just go your way and just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Whatever I die or not, you just don't care about me, that kind of vibe. And I kind of felt like by including Weary character, I think Vonnegut is constantly, beating himself up in some ways because he's guilty.
Yeah, he's guilty
at the same
about
time.
Surviving alone.
I think he kind of feels like he's deserved to be beaten up enough.
Yeah, and that's very interesting.
죄책감.
Because I've never thought this character in that way.
Because because the plot itself, for him, for the weary guy, is very, very simple. he's very violent. He's very fat. Like he's depicted in a very unfavorable way, right?
Yeah.
And all he does is just just 시비 걸어 to people and like 계속 때리고.
맞아요.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I thought that Vonnegut's kind of guilty. Like he's got his guilty feelings as a survivor, maybe.
I mean, that's really interesting.
네, 자기 스스로를 때린다고 생각했어요.
Yeah.
계속.
Because I just thought like Roland Weary guy to be some kind of a very depiction of some soldiers that can be easily found in wartime. I was just thinking in that way. But after like hearing your opinion, I think it's really makes sense, I think.
Oh, well. I also wanted to talk about like how you thought about the 뭐야? Palmadonian?
Tralfamadonian?
Dorians?
Yeah, Tralfamadonian.
Yeah. I don't know how to spell it in English. 트랄파마도어인.
Yeah. I mean, there is before we get into more details about the Tralfamadorians, it is the alien species mentioned in the book. First of all, like I actually came across this book because of a famous prayer that's quoted in it. Do you remember?
Yeah. I don't have the book with me, so maybe you should share.
Yeah. I mean, like I happened to read it somewhere by chance.
Yeah.
Quite a few years ago, and really stayed with me because like I thought it was the prayer itself was very moving. And it goes like, God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And when I first read that line without knowing the book, I thought it was just like moving. But in Slaughterhouse-Five, there's actually one more sentence that follows it. And it says like,
what was it?
Among the things Billy Pilgrim could not change were the past, the present, and the future.
What's that in Korean? What's it say in Korean?
빌리가 바꿀 수 없는 것들에는 과거, 현재, 미래가 있었다.
So pretty much everything.
I mentioned this prayer like before we get into more details about the Tralfamadorian episode because the way this alien species see time comes through really like very peculiar way. I mean, like, because unlike human beings, they can see the past and the present and the future at the same time.
Right.
It is very different.
Uh-huh.
And I can give out a like quote from the book to like elaborate on this concept of time.
Yes, please.
When a Tralfamadorian sees a corpse, all he thinks is that the dead person is in a bad condition in that particular moment, but that the same person is just fine in plenty of other moments. Now, when I myself hear that somebody is dead, I simply shrug and say what the Tralfamadorians say about the dead people, which is, so it goes.
뭐 그런 거지.
Yeah, 뭐 그런 거지. So like, even though when something devastating and traumatic happens, Tralfamadorians won't be very much, traumatized or feeling sad about that situation because they can see the like all the time period at the same time. So like and also Billy believes that he was kidnapped by these Tralfamadorian creatures to the alien planet, and he thinks that he kind of accepted their perspective of their time. Like he's now able to see the past and the present and the future at the same time, just like the alien species.
Yes.
Yes. And, the prayer said that grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. This can be implied as that, like, you know, Billy has found some kind of his own serenity by accepting Trafalmadorian perspective on time.
But I still have doubt on it, actually. Because,
Yeah, of course,
like,
because...
Did Billy actually understand the concept of time?
No, I don't think
so.
Because, you know, because he believes that he is now serene himself. Author, like, I mean, the readers may question about it. And also, like, people around him question about it as well. Like, there was some kind of, you know, episode about the boy that came to, like, Billy's office to get a, you know, eye checkup because Billy is a optician after the war. This boy, like, recently lost his father, and Billy tells the child that the father is still very much alive in all the moments the boy will continue to see again in the future.
And his mother goes to the receptionist telling people that, you know, that guy is, you know, mad.
Yeah, so, like, because of this, like, these incidents happen so often around Billy. So, like, literally, all the family members of Billy are frustrated about the situation because they think that this old man is, like, lost touch with reality or something.
But you know what? I believe so too.
You believe in that?
I think he's mad.
Yeah, he's mad. He's totally mad. I mean, but, like, he's mad. You know, this concept of time can be easily seen as a metaphor of PTSD.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because, you know, soldiers who have been through war often find themselves pulled back into traumatic, like, moments from the past, whether they want to or not. So, like, Billy also experiences the same moments as well. You know, like, he thinks that he is, like, doing some kind of Trafalmadorian thing, but still, when he is lying on a, like, bed in the house, he suddenly finds himself, like, back in the slaughterhouse where he was, like, once held as a prisoner. Like, it just happens so often to him. Yeah, I mean, we can easily see that Billy is not sane.
He's totally, he's just gone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I wondered, like, you know, how I kind of presumed that Vonnegut kind of had a sense of Buddhism or, you know, the Eastern philosophy as well, because I also wanted to mention, like, since we're talking about the Trapalmadorians, they you know how Billy is keep asking those aliens that, you know, why am I here? Like, there's a scene where, you know, these aliens go like, oh, welcome aboard, sir. You're you know, in our spaceship. And he goes like, why me? Like, why should it be me? And, like, in the later part of it, like, he goes like, you know, how did I end up here? He constantly asks that. And the answer is always the same. Like, there's no concept of why here on our planet to our people. You know? And, like, there's a scene where, you know, the Billy Pilgrim mentions about free will, right? 자유의지. And they go like, you know, the interesting thing about human beings on Earth is that you guys are the only ones who talk about 자유의지, the free will. You know, we've been around to many different planets, and you human beings are the only ones who constantly talk about 자유의지. So I think he's trying to imply something to the readers by saying that, and, like, you know, and at the same time, like, I think there's a very Eastern philosophy touch to it because, you know, we talk about how 의미 없어 our life is, right? So, like, we, you know, oftentimes we have a conversation about why do we have to work? Like, why do we have to get married? Or, those why questions to life, right? And like I like to talk about this with my parents, and my dad, he tells me that, sometimes there's no answer to it. 그냥 하는 거야.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's no why. It just happens. And
So true.
like if you put too much meaning to everything
Yeah.
that you do or you plan to do, and like life gets so heavy. It gets
so
heavier and heavier. So, sometimes it's just to not answer. It's wise to not answer and like not to find meaning to every bit, but you just embrace it and accept it. And if it's too much for you, you just let it go. I think Kurt Vonnegut, it somehow tries to, imply that to the readers as well.
Yeah. Like, this work is a kind of a little bit peculiar structure in the plot. Like, because in the very first part of the novel, there is a narrator outside of Billy Pilgrim's story.
Yes.
And this author like mentions like, oh, I'm not gonna like write about war story after this one. But still, in this story, I'm gonna look back on what I've been gone through. And after that, I'm not gonna write about war. Like, the narrator goes like that.
Right.
And I totally believe that this narrator like directly conveys the Vonnegut's voice. Because the situation of the narrator was like kind of very similar to what Vonnegut has actually gone through.
Yes.
So like I thought that he wrote this like Slaughterhouse-Five to let go of his past actually.
Yes, right. Yeah, I can agree to that.
Sometimes like it feels a lot lighter when someone tells all the things that he or she has gone through to the public. It can be lighter. Yeah.
And the way he writes about the things that he experienced is it's very different from how Primo Levi talked about in his book 이것이 인간인가, right?
Yeah.
Maybe have you read the book?
I just heard the title of the book.
Yeah. If This Is a Man by Primo Levi. Like, it's another, like, a story happened during the war, and, like, I believe that the person was in the 수용소, right? The camp. And, like, the way he depicts the 수용소, the life in 수용소 is just devastating. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, the 묘사, the depiction is so vivid and so cruel that, it's really, like, I literally had to, stop from time to time to finish the book. But then this Slaughterhouse-Five is the way Vonnegut writes is totally different. Like, as you mentioned it, like he's writing it as if it's nothing.
Yeah.
He tries to write it as light as possible, and I think that's the point where readers find it more heartbreaking. Yeah. Because he regards it as if it's nothing, but we know that it's something serious and it's something 진짜 terrible, right?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
I've like searched on the web, and the phrase "so it goes," like 뭐 그런 거지, it appears like over 100 times in the novel.
그러니까 it takes 100 times to say 뭐 그런 거지 to actually make him relieve, from all the pain and suffering,
Yeah, and this phrase is mentioned whenever any death comes up in the like story. And I thought that in the wartime there were too many of deaths. I mean, so because of there were so many of them, it became like not very much singular or worthy of individual mourning. Instead, it is treated as something like very ordinary, like even incidental, I think. So like there it goes, like when someone dies, Billy goes like, well, that's how things go. And I looked it up on the web and I found the picture after the Dresden bombing, and I was really shocked because it was the picture of like citizens of Dresden. They were just, all the dead bodies were like stacked up in some places like 광장 square, in the square of the like city, and literally there were tons of bodies in that place. It felt like it was so unrealistic, and I couldn't believe that there were so many human bodies over human bodies, and it was so like devastating to see the scene actually.
It just if you have like, if you don't have more to say, then I just would like to wrap up by saying that 전쟁 좀 그만했으면 좋.
Yeah. I mean, there is one thing that I want to mention. Very last one to mention. Like, we've been talking about the, how devastating the situation in Slaughterhouse-Five is. Still, there is a line, the very famous line in this novel it goes like, everything was beautiful and nothing hurt.
맞아.
I mean, I
that's
couldn't...
like 그 묘비명, right?
Yeah.
Gravestone, the phrase carved in the gravestone. Okay.
And I was like, how can this author can say things like this, even though he has gone through all of that, And I thought that this was his courage to, write this story, drive that made him to finish this novel. And I thought in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so both of them were worth reading. And I think like we didn't expect it, but then I kind of find it very timely.
Yeah.
This particular situation that war is going on.
We never expected.
Yeah. So I just pray that somehow, sometime, like in the very near future, like everything ends peacefully. Yeah, on the other side of the globe.
I like, even though it can sound a little bit naive, but still, I don't want any more people to die.
I know.
In this way.
Right.
Right.
All right. So this was for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we are both devastated after talking about the two novels.
할 말이 없어. 너무 마음이 아파서 할 말이 없어요.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. But to change our mood, like, what are we going to cover next week? We're not going to cover the book for the next episode, right?
Yeah, for the first time, we're gonna review a Netflix series. The Korean title is Lady Dua, and I found that the English title was The Art of Sarah.
다르구나.
Have you watched the show, or like?
I need to start it, but then I've seen the reels of it, and I kind of know that the name of the brand is Dua or something. Budua or something. And then like the main character is trying to, like, she's playing as a Sarah Kim, but she's not Sarah Kim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The female lead of the show is Shin very very renowned actor in South Korea, and also the male, her acting partner is also a very very famous actor, Lee Junhyuk, and Shin Hye-sun plays the role of a luxury brand division manager, and the luxury brand's name is Budua.
Where is it from? It's all fake, but then where is it originally from, they say?
It says
Italy?
It is only exclusive, sold to the European royal families or something. And that was why people were not aware of that brand, because this thing was so exclusive. That is the concept. And in the very first episode, the division manager Sarah Kim is found dead in the underground of the Cheongdam luxury street,
Uh-huh.
which is, like this street in Seoul is, packed with all the,
Yeah.
명품
luxury
stores.
brands. Yeah.
And now, this police detective Mugyong, the character's name is Mugyong, and Mugyong is played by Lee Jun-hyuk, and this guy like follows after the Sarah Kim's death, and he found like much bigger secrets about this boudoir brand.
Okay.
Like he was just trying to solve out the homicidal case, but that he realizes that he has to face even bigger one.
That the brand itself is a whole scam.
Whole scam, and also there is this woman is so devoted to this brand, and she kind of changes her personas just for that brand, I think.
All right.
Right.
Seems like it's going viral these days, right? Lady
Yeah.
Tua, this show.
Even though like the show was promoted with like two famous actors, 신혜선 and Lee Jun-hyuk for both, but actually it is more of a 신혜선 show actually.
Oh, okay. Then I'll use my weekend to watch all the series and like.
Yeah, and there are only 8 episodes, and they are all like 45 minutes long, and then it won't take much time to finish the show. And also, I recommended this show to Sewon, and Sewon agreed to cover this on our podcast, and I'm hoping Sewon will enjoy this show like me.
Yeah. I will, because I rarely consume Korean media. So like it's my like 진짜 오랜만이에요. It's very 오랜만이야 to watch any Korean show. I don't consume Korean media. 안 봐요 잘. Korean culture to me it's my own country. So like I kind of 잘 안 보게 되는데, but yeah, I'll take this opportunity to enjoy the product of my own country. Since K-culture is like, going viral all over the globe. All right. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up today.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. This was for this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.